Hello, beautiful people. My name is Bree, and I'm a Democracy Fellow at Tri-C in Cleveland, Ohio. This Thursday, on our countdown to the 50th anniversary of the 26th Amendment, and as a tribute to Juneteenth, I have the honor of highlighting three brilliant African American leaders whose activism greatly influenced the enactment of the 26th Amendment, lowering the voting age to 18. The first person being highlighted today is the late Congressman and civil rights activist John Lewis. Lewis's activism roots started in Nashville, Tennessee at Fisk University. It was in Nashville that John began engaging in nonviolent protests and organizing boycotts to support voting rights and desegregation. As a founder and chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, Lewis became one of the original 13 freedom riders during the Civil Rights Movement and even helped organize the March on Washington in 1963. In a response to organizing boycotts in Nashville, Lewis said it was important to engage in good trouble, necessary trouble, in order to achieve change. He embodied this philosophy throughout his entire career in life. Rest in power, John Lewis. The next two brilliant leaders I will be highlighting go by the names of Diane Nash and Carolyn Q Coleman. Diane and Carolyn, women activists, both under the age of 21, fearlessly spearheaded the youth suffrage movement and advocated for youth voting rights. Next up, I will be amplifying the work of Diane Nash. Civil rights activist and strategist Diane Nash became noticed for her grassroots work in 1961 as a student at Fisk University. Upon attending nonviolent training sessions, she quickly rose to a leader in the Nashville area in the student sit-in movement, and along with John Lewis, she too became a founding member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, otherwise known as SNCC. In 1962, her leadership and commitment during the Mississippi Freedom Rides cost Diane a 2-year sentence for encouraging and promoting young people to engage in nonviolent direct action. Despite being 4 months pregnant, she chose to go to jail rather than accept a plea deal. Her exact response to this unjust conviction bestowed upon her was, "This will be a black baby born in Mississippi, and thus wherever he is born, he will be in prison. If I go to jail now, it may help hasten the day when my child and all children will be free." Diane spent 10 days in prison before ultimately being released, emphasizing her reputation as one of the most powerful leaders of SNCC. Diane was eventually appointed to a federal committee tasked with developing civil rights legislation during the Kennedy administration. The legislation she helped create and introduce would be signed into law by President Johnson in 1964. Additionally, her contribution to SNCC mobilized fellow members and played a major role in the passage of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. This act will have a significant impact in advancing not only Black voting rights, but also the youth suffrage movement, leading to the ratification of the 26th Amendment in 1971. For my final segment, I will be highlighting the work of Carolyn Q Coleman. Carolyn Q Coleman began her activism as a teenager, participating in lunch counter sit ins to protest segregation in Georgia. In April 1969, a young Carolyn bolstered her activism, organizing an NAACP sponsored youth mobilization conference in Washington, D.C. The 2-day conference brought together over 2,000 young people from 33 different states in an effort to lobby Congress's support of youth voting rights. Contrary to previous suffrage efforts that lacked grassroots allyship, the coalition supported youth mobilization conference led by Carolyn served as an organizer launch for collective intersectional advocacy towards lowering the voting age. The success of the summit amplified the visibility of state committees and organizations mobilized by young people advocating for the right to vote. Carolyn Q. Coleman currently serves as a commissioner and liaison on several boards in North Carolina. She also remains actively engaged with NAACP, serving as secretary to the NAACP National Board of Directors, as well as vice president of the North Carolina NAACP chapter. Though oftentimes overshadowed, the foundational work of these three activists were pivotal in obtaining voting rights for young people. I want to extend my sincerest thank you to John Lewis, Diane Nash, and Carolyn Q. Coleman for your hard work, leadership, and tenacious activism. On behalf of Democracy Fellows at Tri-C, I hope you enjoyed this brief history lesson. Happy Juneteenth, and continue to follow along with us on IG as we count down to the 50th anniversary of the 26th Amendment.